My first chapter is entitled "A Broken Meritocracy," um, and basically, it's about how far America has deviated, how far America's elite, in fact, has deviated from the principles of meritocracy that need to be addressed again. And then I talk specifically about Harvard, because Harvard University is Harvard University is the epitome of what is going on. It is the example. This is why there's so much national attention onto this Harvard discrimination admissions case against Asian Americans, because in a way it is kind of the epitome of what diversity ideology of it is the meeting point. It is the apex point of the meeting place between diversity ideology and meritocracy. Because Harvard cannot admit more diverse applicants unless Harvard actually cannot admit more diverse applicants unless it admits people who are less qualified. It's basically, if you want more racial diversity, you have to sacrifice some marginal factor of meritocracy. And the meritocracy is, as I've said before, Asian Americans are considered a meritocratic minority. This is why Harvard's discriminating against Asian Americans in many senses. They don't like Asian Americans, but also they have to if they want to make room for their preferred minorities. So I talk in depth about this case, and I talk in depth about what the larger implications of this case. If Harvard continues to be allowed to get away with this, imagine if the Supreme Court, which is actually taking up this case this year, imagine if the Supreme Court says that Harvard is allowed to continue to do this, and what that would say about our culture. And the Supreme Court is basically making an argument that meritocracy is superseded by racial diversity. And I think that has severe implications for our culture.
You said that Harvard doesn't like Asians. What do you mean by that? Is it just because they fly in the face of some value, or they're too good, or that's a strong statement? Could you unpack that a bit?
Harvard doesn't like Asians in the same way that Harvard didn't like Jews back in the 1920s. Harvard limited the number of Jewish Americans that attended its university 80, 90 years ago, until they were forced to adopt certain reforms. And the president thought that Jews were of ill character, were not reformed well enough or assimilated well enough into civilization to be let in for a university. But Jews were very smart at the time, performed very well, were academically excellent. I think at one point made up, over 20% of Harvard's student body. And the president said, enough. We can't have enough. We can't have too many more of these people, because he thought it would sort of corrupt the character of the university. And I think Harvard had an exclusive mentality then. They have this idea of character and fitness that the Jews didn't fit at that point. And today they have the same ideas of character and fitness that Asian Americans don't fit. Harvard says Asian Americans are fine at this college up to a certain amount. We don't want them to take over our college. It's the idea of taking over a university. Harvard does not want more than 20% Asian Americans in their college. For the past 25 years, Harvard University has allowed 20% or fewer Asian Americans in their university, despite the fact that Harvard's own internal Bureau of Research suggested that if merit-based admissions were the sole principle, Asian Americans would make up 43% of admissions. 43% admissions. And then, and then you ask the question, oh, well, would you want to be in a university with 43% Asians? And then, I casually just remind people, hey, Harvard historically was a university with 80% whites, or Harvard was, and then do we have a problem with that? And people didn't complain then. And then also Harvard now is a university that I think that has a high disproportionate number of Jewish people. Are we not okay with that? At some point, meritocracy is something that you have to stand up for. And so this book is talking about things like that.